When a new Army recruit steps off the bus and onto the training post for the first time, nothing feels familiar anymore. The noise, the uniforms, the sense of strict order. This is the beginning of a journey that every U.S. Army soldier has gone through. What comes next isn't myth, movie exaggeration, or rumor. It's the real, documented way the United States Army trains its troops. Before training truly begins, every recruit enters something the Army calls the reception battalion. It lasts a few days, and it is not glamorous. It's where the Army gathers information, checks health, and prepares each recruit for the weeks ahead. They're issued uniforms, undergo medical screenings, vaccinations, dental exams, and drug tests, all following Army Regulation 40-501. They get their first military haircut, learn how to stand in formation, and receive a long list of gear straight from standard Army supply packing lists. For many, this is the first time the reality sinks in. Civilian life is over. The transformation has officially begun. Then comes day one of basic combat training. The United States Army runs a standardized 10-week training course at installations like Fort Moore in Georgia, Fort Jackson in South Carolina, Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri, and Fort Sill in Oklahoma. The program is divided into 3 phases: red, white, and blue. And each phase pushes recruits mentally and physically in ways that have been refined through decades of study by the Army Training and Doctrine Command. The red phase is where the Army breaks old habits and starts replacing them with discipline and structure. Drill sergeants, following TRADOC Regulation 350-6, introduce the recruits to the strict expectation of military life. It's loud, demanding, and intentionally overwhelming. Recruits learn the Army values, how to salute, how to stand at attention, and how to follow commands quickly and precisely. They begin physical training almost immediately, using the standards of the Army Combat Fitness Test. Soldiers run, carry weights, perform strength drills, and complete conditioning designed to prevent injury while building endurance. Every morning starts early. Very early. The Army does not ease anyone into this. Weapons training also begins in this phase, starting with the fundamentals of safe handling. Recruits are introduced to the M4 carbine, the standard U.S. Army service rifle. They learn to clear it, disassemble it, and understand the mechanical basics, all outlined in Manual TC 3-22.9. For some, this is their first time touching a firearm. For others, it's a reminder that this isn't a video game. It's the real thing, and mistakes aren't an option. As the weeks pass, recruits transition into the white phase. This is often called the marksmanship phase, because rifle qualification becomes one of the biggest challenges. Soldiers spend hours learning positions, breath control, trigger discipline, and sight alignment. Everything is taught using standardized Army marksmanship doctrine. On qualification day, each recruit fires on a range that meets Army range safety requirements and must hit targets from multiple distances to pass. It's one of the most important moments in training, not because the Army wants soldiers to be perfect shooters, but because it teaches patience, control, and confidence. White phase also includes real tactical lessons. Recruits learn how squads move, how to communicate silently, how to react to enemy fire, and how to navigate terrain with a map and compass. Land navigation is still one of the most demanding tests in Army training. Using only a compass and the grid system from a military map, recruits must find precise points scattered through forests or fields. It is entirely based on FM March 25, 26, the Army's official map reading manual. Then comes the blue phase, the final and toughest part of basic training. This is where everything learned so far is applied in more realistic combat scenarios. Recruits conduct longer field exercises, practice room clearing techniques, learn how to handle machine guns under supervision, and move together as a squad. They complete long road marches carrying rucksacks that must meet Army weight standards. They train on grenade ranges using live fragmentation grenades under strict safety rules found in TC March 23, 30. They practice first aid using techniques from the U.S. Army Combat Lifesaver Program, controlling bleeding, applying tourniquets, and treating trauma exactly the way real soldiers must in real combat situations. One of the defining moments of this phase is the Forge, a grueling multi-day field exercise that tests everything at once: endurance, teamwork, navigation, stress, and resilience. It includes long movements, nighttime operations, and tactical missions pulled from real Army doctrine. Passing the forge is the final proof that a recruit is ready to become a soldier. When that last march ends, and recruits cross the symbolic archway at the end of the forge, they earn the right to wear the Army beret. This moment isn't ceremonial fluff. It's tied directly to U.S. Army tradition. The beret is not issued earlier in training. It is earned. And when recruits put it on for the first time, surrounded by their platoon, many feel something they haven't felt in weeks: pride. Real, earned pride. But training doesn't stop at graduation. In fact, for most soldiers, the real job training is just beginning. After basic combat training, they move on to AIT, Advanced Individual Training, where they learn the specifics of their chosen military occupational specialty. Whether it's infantry, engineering, communications, medical, logistics, intelligence, or over 150 other fields, every soldier must meet the standards defined by their career's official Army training manual. Some AIT courses last 6 weeks. Others last nearly a year. All of them use real, documented Army procedures. For infantry soldiers, the journey continues through the one-station unit training program, combining basic and AIT into a single longer course. For medics, the Army teaches combat trauma care based on tactical combat casualty care guidelines, the same life-saving methods used in real combat zones. For engineers, training includes breaching, construction, and demolitions, always following published Army doctrine. Every job has a manual, every skill has a standard, and every soldier must meet it. By the time a soldier joins their first real unit, they're not just physically stronger, they're mentally different. They've learned discipline, teamwork, communication, and resilience. They've learned how to operate under pressure and how to protect the soldiers next to them. And most importantly, they've learned the truth that every Army instructor emphasizes: training never stops. Even fully qualified soldiers continue to drill, test, and evaluate themselves throughout their careers. This is how the United States Army turns ordinary people into trained soldiers. Not through mystery or myth, but through a strict, documented, and time-tested system built on real standards, real manuals, and real experience. It's demanding. It's structured. And for those who complete it, it becomes a defining chapter in the story of their lives.